Howdy, howdy! We are live at our new time of 5 p.m. Central. Glad people were able to join us, though. I see there's people in the live chat ready for us to get started. So, Taylor, guess what? We have a brand new Star Trek show.
I know. I'm actually surprisingly invested early.
Well, yeah, this is the first one you get to be like part of the fandom experience from the ground up, I guess. So we have a new exciting mission slash voyage slash fall semester to
Yeah,
kick off. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get the show started. I'm Fathery,
I'm Miss Taylor.
and this is Tex-Trek.
Engage.
Welcome back aboard the Starship Texas for the 362nd installment of the Tex-Trek podcast, the home of Star Trek fandom from deep in the heart of Texas, where we take a deep look at Star Trek, old and new. And today we have a packed show. We're going to be discussing not one, but two episodes of Star Trek, because we got a two-episode premiere of a new show with Star Trek Starfleet Academy. So we will cover both the first episode of Starfleet Academy, Kids These Days, written by Gaia Violo and directed by Alex Kurtzman, as well as episode 2, Beta Test, written by Naga Lando and Jane Maggs, also directed by Alex Kurtzman. And just about those credits, Gaia Violo actually gets sole credit for creating the show, Star Trek Starfleet Academy. First time any Star Trek show was credited to a single creator since Star Trek created by Gene Roddenberry. But going forward post-development, Noga Landau's, who wrote the second episode with Jane Maggs, is going to be co-show-running with Alex Kurtzman, who directed both of these. So we're seeing the talents of the people in charge up front. So perhaps a good sampling of what to expect from this show. Before we get into it, Taylor and I need to do a bit of quick housekeeping per usual and give a big thank you and shout out to the wonderful, delightful people in the Tex-Trek Patreon who make our show possible. So thank you so very much, Starfleet So Hell, Cake is Eternal, Crazy Dutchie, Joanne Robertson, John Daw, Geek Filter, Quarkspar, Matthew Averett, Braxton, Chuck A., Joel Vallis, Arthur Lamoureux, our associate producer, Chris Garris, Dave Farabee, Dave A. Gregory, Wanda Valentine, Ren, Corrine, Victor, and our anonymous supporters. And also want to remind people that if you are watching us live on Friday, you are in luck, because tomorrow, Saturday, January 17th, we are hosting our January Patreon watch party. We do one every month where we watch an episode of Star Trek with our patrons, and this month it is the Discovery episode All Is Possible, when Tilly goes on a field trip with some cadets. I think it might be fun to compare that to the Academy show that we're actually getting now, because I think that was always kind of meant to be the backdoor pilot or like the proof of concept for a 32nd century Starfleet Academy show. But that being said, just a bit of news. I probably should also bring attention to the fact that we are streaming at 5 p.m. on a Friday, not our usual 7 p.m. Friday that we've had for years. So we're going to proceed at this time for the first season of Starfleet Academy, and perhaps make this a new permanent airtime. I saw there is some questions in in the live audience. Wanda was asking about that. So if people like the 5 o'clock thing, let us know. And if it ruins anyone's life to try to join us live at 5 instead of 7, also let us know. We'll see what we end up doing with going forward. But for the next several weeks, as we discuss the remaining 8 episodes of Starfleet Academy, the plan is that we will be live on Fridays at 5 p.m. So. Speaking of that, Taylor and I also have another project. Taylor, do you want to let people know what that's called? The name of the other show that we're doing now? I don't know. Taylor, are you muted? I can't hear you for some reason.
I was muted.
Oh, sorry. I thought
Sorry.
I thought I was having some tech issues on my end.
Well, I think you
that's
are
okay.
a little bit. Okay.
Can people
Anyway,
hear me?
so the
do
other-
I sound okay?
You sound a little like muffled. I think your mic might be picking up more background noise than usual too. Like I hear your mouse click. But anyway, so the other Star franchise is the project we're working on, which is our Star Wars podcast, and we're watching Star Wars in chronological order. It's my first time ever watching in chronological order. It's such a hard word to say, because usually I watch in release order. But yeah, so we started with The Acolyte. We covered that last week, and since then we have watched all of the pre-Clone Wars Star Wars. That's not The Acolyte.
Yeah. We're talking about that tonight, like the Phantom Menace, and there's like some Tales of the Jedi stuff that are like prequels to the prequels. So
Yeah. So the other Star franchise.
And we're doing an installment of that later tonight at 8 p.m. Central, so in like 3 hours. So if y'all didn't get enough of hearing us blab about Star Trek, you can come back and hear us blab about the other Star franchise. And Joel's put he beat me to it, but there's a link to that in the live audience. So be sure to go subscribe over there to that channel and check that out. It's very different from what we do with Tex-Trek, so for better or worse. But I guess that's all the show updates we got. Oh no, I forgot the big one, the Patreon perks. So Taylor and I have put a lot of thought into improving and revamping the Tex-Trek Patreon tiers and perks. And good news, if you're currently at any level, it's going to stay that way for the rest of the year. But we're going to announce some additional perks, including some merch that we're going to be sending out. So patrons are also going to start receiving stickers. We have some other things worked out. Certain tiers are going to get T-shirts. So we're going to have a big Patreon announcement next week when we only have one Academy episode to talk about instead of 2. But some really big things coming to the Tex-Trek Patreon supporters. So if you are able to support, now would be a good time to sign up. And anyone, whatever your current tier is, you'll be locked in there for the rest of the year at whatever you're paying now. But if you can afford to be more generous, as always, please take a look at the new perks when we roll them out and see if you can help out at whatever level that works for you. But and everyone else, thank you for if you're unable to help us, financially, if you can like and share our content, we really appreciate that as well. So enough about us, though. Just like a little bit of like bigger news, I guess, and like the bigger world at large. As people who've been watching our show the last few weeks have heard me talk about, I've been very disappointed with how the owners of Star Trek, who also now own, I guess they always owned CBS News on the Paramount side, but now the people who have bought Star Trek also bought CBS News. And I am extremely disappointed with some of the reporting they're doing and with some of the corporate choices Paramount Skydance are making. And one thing we're going to be doing this year on these Friday night deep dive discussions of these new episodes of Starfleet Academy is I'm also going to be doing segments where I discuss problems with Paramount. So starting next week, I'm going to have a segment on Larry Ellison, David Ellison's dad, the guy who had all the Oracle money to buy a media company and turn it into a propaganda outlet. So, something that we probably shouldn't allow people to have like enough money to run around and do things like that. We have 2 episodes to dive into, so I can't spend too much time talking about this stuff tonight. But I just wanted to remind people that CBS News had done they did a good job and a bad job both simultaneously with some of the tragic events that happened recently. The murder of Renee Good in Minneapolis by a federal agent. I just want to point out that someone at CBS was actually doing their job as a journalist, and they put together a really good interview with a 25-year-old retired ICE agent who basically explained that everything that the Jonathan Ross, the man who murdered Renee Good on camera, basically explains why everything he was doing was incorrect, out of line, and not according to the procedures of the Department of Homeland Security. CBS had this interview with this guy, and they never put it on TV. It's on their YouTube channel, but they never ran it on TV, which is criminal in my opinion, because it was some of the best reporting they've done the last few weeks. So I'm not going to be able to play it here because the last time I played something from CBS News, even with the audio muted, the video on YouTube was demonetized. But people, please check out the link in the live chat. It's also in the description of the video. Don't go anywhere now. But bookmark that, save that, go back to that, and give that a watch because it is some really good journalism. And then, like this week, CBS turned around and they started parodying the lie of oh no, this guy was in the hospital with internal bleeding, even though you can see from the footage that's in this YouTube link I've shared in the description where you're watching or listening to this, or in the live audience right now. But go watch that. You can see that the dude was not injured at all, and we're basically being asked to ignore our eyes and ears and believe the official story. So extremely alarming, extremely concerning, and I hate that the people who own Star Trek are choosing to be part of this horrible problem. And we'll have more segments talking about my problems with Paramount. There should be all of our problems with Paramount in the weeks to come as we discuss Starfleet Academy. As for Starfleet Academy, this first episode we're talking about kids these days. I'm just going to quickly recap it by reading the official synopsis, and then I'll kind of expand on that with spoilers. But the synopsis reads: after being on the run since age 6, 21-year-old Caleb, a brilliant street kid, is offered the chance of a lifetime to join the first new Starfleet Academy class in San Francisco in over a century. There's just one problem. The person offering him the spot is newly minted Chancellor Nahla Ake, the Starfleet captain who sentenced his mother to Federation prison 15 years ago. And yeah, the episode opens up with the sad flashback to Starfleet separating a family, separating the mother from this child because she went along with some felony-level piracy, got a Starfleet pilot killed. But then, cut to post-burn. We're in this time of rebuilding. Admiral Vance is like, oh, we don't have to be like, the mean, cold military Starfleet. We can be like the warm, cuddly, classic Starfleet that everyone used to know and love. So,
yeah.
Sorry, Taylor's telling me that my audio is coming in bad, but is anyone in the audience? I don't know if people tell me that they hear both of us. So.
Well, I can hear you, but I hear your computer fan really loud, and I think that's what it is. It's like a low hum.
Yeah, but it's normally on there.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
But I don't know if I sound unusual.
It just sounds different to me, but okay. I don't know. But sorry.
Bear with me 1 second. Yeah, I sound good. I just pulled up the YouTube video and listened to myself. Okay, so sorry about that. Where was I?
Okay, sorry.
Okay, recap.
Synopsis recap, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we meet Holly Hunter, our captain of the show, Chancellor Nahla Ake. Am I saying it right? Ake. I might mispronounce some of these names. Just bear with me. I'll get them straightened out. Give me a week or two. I had to say them a few times. But not only do we have Kayla, but we meet a whole cast of new characters, as well as a familiar face with the Doctor. And the whole episode is basically just like the campus is also a ship, and it's kind of like the school bus picking everyone up on the way to school. And then we arrive at San Francisco. But there is like a pirate encounter with our series villain, Paul Giamatti's character, Noose Braca, as well, who is also responsible for what happened with Caleb's mom. So, but all of that out of the way, Taylor, you finally got to see Starfleet Academy after all this time of talking about it. What are your broad thoughts on this first episode, Kids These Days?
I'm actually surprised how much I liked these two episodes, and especially the first one. It's really hard for me to like characters very quickly. And on first watch, I was kind of like, oh, I could like them. And on second watch, I was like, oh, I like a lot of these characters already. So that's like a really hard thing for me to get over. So that's like really good green flags for me moving forward, because I'm like, oh, well, that's like one of the biggest struggles I have. And since that's like not going to be a problem, I'm looking forward more to the series. But I think it's pretty classic, like Trek. It feels like Trek. I'm stoked about it being in the future post Burn, because I really like all the Discovery, future. I think that was so cool. So I love being like in this crazy distant future where anything can happen and they're not bound by any they're only bound by the past. You know what I mean? In their storyline. So I'm excited about that.
You know, when I was watching this episode for the first time, that opening flashback scene, it kind of made me mad. I was like, what? Like Starfleet separating families? Like, just speaking of like having to deal with these harsh realities. But like our federal agency ICE, is famous for doing that these days. I'm sure that's what inspired that scene. But then, like immediately being like, oh, here is Admiral Vance and Ake like talking about like, yeah, that was wrong. We really shouldn't have done that. And just like the idea of like framing the show to make it so relatable and relevant to the current, young generation facing the the hellscape of our real life reality. It was stuff that came through more in the second episode than the first episode. But as soon as we started getting pieces of that in the first episode, I liked that. And I think they have a very impressive cast with the adult characters. And then the kids are they're likable enough. I wasn't sure about some of them, I guess like you, but yeah, after that first episode, I was like, oh yeah, Genesis is cool. Oh yeah, like I get, Caleb can be sad and sympathetic when he needs to have like those sad scenes talking about his mom, and like Sam is just adorable, and like, oh I really wanted to like this young Klingon Jaden, and then like I ended up really, there's like a moment in here where it's like, is this guy just going to be like, kind of corny, or is he going to be a cool, fully realized character? And I got that emotional moment with him, like struggling to save the life of his instructor on his first day of school. So, but I guess my concerns would have been if I only saw the first episode, I would have been like, I don't know about this show, because it would have been like, like big action set pieces, lots of space battles. I'm like, this isn't really, Academy
Starfleet
stuff.
Academy, yeah.
And like, and Star Trek used to be, about like ideas and problems and stuff more than just like, we have to escape the pirates. The pirates are attacking the ship. So, but we got that stuff in the second episode. So I can't knock the first episode too much for that, because of the way they released them together. So I guess my big concerns were put at ease when I saw the second episode. But let's go ahead and dive into this thing. We're going to run through this a little bit quicker than normal, because we do have 2 episodes to talk about. But buckle in. The Athena is here picking y'all up, and we are hitting warp drive now. Class is in session. So we open with that flashback scene I was talking about. Before we get that, though, we had that cool new franchise logo where they did the Star Trek 60th anniversary thing. What do you think of that, Taylor?
Yeah, I loved the ships like melting away into the next ship, into the next ship. That was really cool, because I'm like, oh, I recognize that one. Oh, I recognize that one. And I'm not even like a ship crazy person, but I thought that was really fun and colorful and exciting.
It was a little awkward that they excluded the Cerritos and the Protostar, though. It's like,
I would agree with that.
The show does give a lot of love to the animated. Both Lower Decks and Prodigy get a lot of shout outs in these 2 episodes we're going to talk about. But I expect to see that 60th anniversary for the rest of the year in Academy as well as Strange New Worlds when season 4 gets here later this year. And I just wonder if, like, at the end, if they'll change it to be like the Pike's Enterprise instead of the Athena as like the last ship.
Yeah, I would think they would.
I think that's gonna be the only thing difference. But I guess we'll find out. I don't know, probably in like late summer or whenever Strange New Worlds gets here. I'm gonna guess like July or August. But okay, the flashback 15 years earlier. It's funny, Taylor. We just on our Star Wars show, we just talked about the Acolyte, which also has a young character, and it like flashes back. There it's like 16 years earlier, so here's like 15 years earlier. But I don't know. I just thought that was an interesting parallel. But we see Captain Ake is like the judge in like a military tribunal. They're trying Noose Braca, the Paul Giamatti pirate, the half Klingon, half Tellarite pirate. And also Caleb and his She-Hulk mom. Anisha. Caleb and Anisha Mir, yeah. Yeah, that's She-Hulk, right? Like, neither one of us have watched She-Hulk, but I've been told by people who have seen She-Hulk that this lady is She-Hulk.
I don't know if that's her. I know she's in Orphan Black, but I haven't seen her in anything.
Right. Orphan Black, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought this was kind of odd, this like double trial thing. I think it's weird that they would both be on trial at the same time to be able to like argue and fight across the podiums at each other. Like you would think that they would bring in the mom and the kid and like try them individually, like and have those conversations with them, and then have what's his name, Noose
Braca.
Noose Braca, thanks. Have him come in on his own, because it would eliminate this conflict of them like spitting words at each other back and forth.
Well, that would probably be more fair, but this is the Burn justice, and you want to shoot it all in one scene, so you just try them all at the same. That's all we have. There's the only resources we have. We can only do one trial a day in the dilithium crisis of the Burn. It is interesting. I heard in an interview Paul Giamatti say that he plays this character as if he's drunk most of the time. But I gotta say, he is the least interesting. And I hate to say that because I was like, oh, cool, we got like a big actor playing a Klingon Tellarite. That sounds awesome. But he's so hammy. I have no doubt that Paul Giamatti's having tons of fun, though. He's a hardcore Trekkie. Like I've seen him do interviews promoting the show recently. He talks about like how much he loves Star Trek. He'll reference like Deep Space Nine characters and stuff. He's not like a guy who's like watched TOS a little bit when he was in junior high. Like he actually like knows the shows pretty well. But he's a bit of a, I don't know, he's kind of like, he's constantly like sexual harassing women too. Like every scene he's in this episode. Like even here when he's telling Caleb's mom Anisha, he's like, oh, the malnutrition really brings out your cheekbones, and just like messed up, pretty messed up thing to tell to like a starving mother in front of her little kid. But
yeah, he's definitely a creep.
But after the flashback, we see Caleb. He does like a prison escape from a Torathan prison. It's pretty cool. I don't know if people remember the Torathans, but they were in an episode of Star Trek Enterprise, Desert Crossing, in season 1 when Clancy Brown, one of my favorite character actors, Clancy Brown, but he played like a desert terrorist in that episode of Enterprise, which I think was kind of a racist episode, and especially like during the time that it came out and the kind of the what was going on in American culture post 9/11 then. But anyways, I like seeing the Torathans again. It was a fun little deep cut. But this got me nervous. It's like we were watching this with Dave, and he was pointing out like this show seems to have the Star Trek Discovery action quotient, and I was like, yeah, this is starting off very, very action packed. With almost too action packed.
The other thing I wanted to bring up was when in the kids scene and they're talking about like their secret code together. Mm-hmm. And then she also says like, let's talk about the moons too. And he brings up Ishani is the moon, and then it's her name all mixed up, and like that like set off a little flag for me. That's like I think that's going to come back up and be important later. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking we'll see the Ishani moon. Maybe that's where she is what I'm thinking.
Well,
But because she's
let's.
bouncing around. But anyways, I wanted to bring that up earlier, but I forgot.
No, that's good to mention though. And as we watch the show in the coming weeks, let's be sure to keep track of the mom details because I was kind of worried if some of that stuff is. It's like, eventually they reveal that she escaped from prison a year ago, but she escaped from prison on the other side of this Betazoid Veil that we learn about in the next. I'm like, how do y'all get all this information? But I don't know. Maybe it'll all make sense when it's all said and done. I hope that they have these answers figured out, and then they kind of know what to work backwards from. Then to be like, we'll just figure out what's going on with his mom later down the road, because that's how writers get in trouble. They write themselves in corners. But we learned that Caleb is just like he's going to these prisons on purpose. He's like because he's trying to find which prison his mom is in.
Yeah.
Like that's why he wants to be in this penal colony so he can hack their systems and then see if the Tarathan prison network has any info on his mom. And so while that's going on, we see something I wasn't expecting in this show. Bajor. We return to Bajor, the Little Blooms daycare. Or early
Yeah, that's a good
education
surprise.
center. Yeah.
Actually, I had like a really hard time. I think Nala was probably the hardest character for me to like because it opens with her in such a negative scene, and then she's like being fake with Caleb, like trying to comfort him. And well, I think it comes across as fake, but she probably was sincere. And then to flip into this scene on Bajor where she's like arguing with the kids about their ice cream, I was like, I don't think I like her actually. And
I thought that was kind of cute how she was handling the kids. That's how
oh,
she has such like old Southern mom energy, especially in
Yeah.
this scene when we've never heard anyone call Admiral Vance Charlie before. But I like how like she says like Charlie, like she says it like an old Southern mom. I don't know.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. This was I maybe like the same when I started to like fall for Holly Hunter's Nahla Ake. But we eventually learn about at the end of this episode they reveal that she lost a cadet son during the burn, and so it ends up being a story about like the mother who lost a son, the son who lost a mother, and I'm kind of a sucker for like mother son stories, anyways. So I'm really invested in their story. And when I go back and rewatch this scene now, like as soon as Admiral Vance is like, you don't understand. I was all wrong. You were right. We're gonna bring back the Academy, and he's having a hard time selling her on it. And then when he says, "We found Caleb Muir," the way Holly Hunter plays that reaction, like oh my god, like that struck a nerve with her. And that's basically like how Vance recruits her to come back, right? Is like that kid that got away that like you've been stressed out about like every day for 15 years. What happened to that little boy? How I took that boy from that mom. Like it was my responsibility to make sure he was okay, and then like I lost him immediately after that. Like, that hit hard.
Yeah.
So they go to this Tarathan prison, and Holly Hunter or Ake makes a deal with Caleb. Says like, "Hey, why don't you join Starfleet? That'll get you released from the Tarathans. You can serve your prison sentence by serving in Starfleet. And your mom has escaped, has been on the run for a year. I'm looking for her. You're more likely to find her if we look for her together. But you got to come with me and be a Starfleet kid." And that's what starts our journey of getting both these characters along with everyone we meet along the way to San Francisco, to the Academy campus.
Yeah. I think it's important too to note like her struggle of like not wanting to accept the chancellor role because she had said that she resigned in disgrace. And like Caleb is the only reason that she's really deciding to take the chancellor role because she wants to fix that.
Yeah.
And have like the opportunity to meet him and help him find his mom and and that's I don't know the word I'm trying to say.
Reunite.
But, thank you. Reunite the mom and the kids. So
Yeah,
I
'cause
really
it's like the one
liked
thing
her.
she can never get her kid back, right? But like but she can never like reconnect like that mother son bond with her kid who died. But she can
Yeah,
help this other mother and son do it.
right. I really enjoyed the scene where she goes to the prison and she's kind of like, I think she acts so well in this scene because she's confident, but it almost has like this like she's hiding like a little bit of her insincerity, or not her insincerity, her insecurity of like not being good enough, and like she had failed him and she feels bad for that. Like like there's a point where she starts to walk away and she's like, "Oh, I guess I'll just leave." And he like storms after her and she turns around and is like, "Holy shit, like this isn't a kid anymore. Like he's an adult." Like she has this like
Like
she's
when
like,
he's like towering
"Oh,
over her.
he's
Yeah.
huge." And yeah, and she kind of like takes a moment to like reevaluate, you know, and then pushes forward again. Like she doesn't lose her confidence, but she kind of like has like that, you can kind of like see her underneath like her I don't want to say fear. I don't think that's the right word, but like she's surprised, you know, and she's just like, wow, this is real. And like, it's been so long. And then I also wanted to bring up in this scene, I loved all of the set design in this. Like they have the red and the blue as the lighting in this. So it's very vibrant and kind of opposites. Like we have the red and the blue in Starfleet colors and the yellow as well. But I think it's so beautifully lit. So I wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, the production design is pretty impressive in this episode. But it was just like it was all space stuff, and I kind of like the second episode more when it's like, oh, we're like walking around on green grass under the sunshine. It's it's kind of refreshing for Star Trek. But speaking of the like the beautiful like sci-fi design, everything, just like I think the ships look really cool. It's the 32nd century Starfleet aesthetic. So if that wasn't your jam from the later seasons of Discovery, I'm sorry, but that's gonna be the look and feel of this show. But I don't know, I dug it. I assume like they leave Bajor when we first see the Athena. It's over Bajor because they talk about like like beaming up the Chancellor's library. It's like, that's cool that like she's 422 years old, so she has like a shitload of books. Mm-hmm. Like I'm only 40 and I have like a bunch of junk. Imagine if I was like this age times 10. I'd have like 10 times as much stuff, I guess. So, what do you think of the Athena though? This massive atrium set. It's like the biggest standing set for any Star Trek TV show ever.
Wow.
Like it's big. You can fit the DS9 promenade inside of this atrium.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, it's huge. I don't know if I have strong thoughts. I liked that there's nature stuff all over their area. Like they have like the pond and a tree, and they have some like pet exhibits or animal exhibits like throughout. I think that might come up in an episode, I'm sure. Like, this is loose in
And
on our ship.
all those dot robots flying around. Like I go back and forth on if like I hated them in the 23rd century. I was fine when Discovery went into the future and had them, but they get kind of goofy in these episodes.
I think it's fine. They don't bother me at all. You know what the Athena kind of reminds me of, and this might be a hot take, but it kind of reminds me of a mall, like with all the different levels, and then you have like it kind of reminds me more of like a mall or like a cruise ship than it does like, oh, that's a Starfleet ship. Like it's very homey and like comfortable, very, I don't know, it's a little different. It's really tall too, like the ceiling, and it has like skylights and stuff. I think that's really cool because most of the ships don't have very many like windows up top above their heads. But if you're thinking about, oh well, this ship is going to act as a classroom on Earth, it makes sense that they would want windows on the ceilings and stuff as like skylights, so it's not so dark. But it's neat. It's a neat ship.
So on board the Athena, we meet most of our other regular characters, starting with the first officer of the show, Cadet Master Commander Lura Thok, daughter of Azmarat from the Klingon house of Dak Hatash, and the Jem'Hadar lineage of Kay Baj. It sounds like a cool name. She's a bit of a jerk, making Caleb do 200 push-ups, though, right off the bat.
Yeah.
People in the live audience were talking about like how big this kid's biceps are and stuff, and just like, yeah, like if if you were gonna punish him, like he looks like he could do 100 push-ups. Better make it 200 to give him a hard time. But like that's fun when like how Jaden Craig or however you say his name, I'll get him right eventually. But when he's just like walking by and she's like, put your bag on this idiot now. Or like put like when she's like, idiot, bag back. Like,
yeah, and he's like, sorry.
Yeah.
And then she's like, no apologies.
It's very Klingon. He's very Klingon, his delivery. He's like, I apologize. And some of his delivery, it's like he talks very slow and stilted. And it's like, is he just doing like this, kind of Michael Dorn, very like kind of basic Worf voice? But then like when he has like the big emotional moments later, when it's like, oh no, he is a scared kid, this Klingon. Like I feel sympathy for him. So I really like the performance we got.
Yeah, I think he's very introverted. So it's kind of fun to see like an introverted Klingon because they're usually so like loud. And this one seems to like think before he speaks.
Yeah, not a shocker to people. Y'all know I'm a big Klingon fan, but I think Jaden's going to be my favorite character of the show. He's the one I'm most excited to watch out of the kids. I'm also really excited to see more of the Doctor, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he integrated so well into the show. Like, I was a little worried it was going to be like, oh, here we go. Like, just fan service. But all of the, like, Doctor quips were so well written in this and funny and landed so much. Like, a lot of the times I was actually laughing out loud at some of the Doctor's dialogue. So that makes me feel much better about having the Doctor in this show. Because at first I was a little worried that we were going to be kind of pushing it, I don't know. I don't know.
I want to see the Doctor have a conversation with Jet Reno or Tilly.
Oh my God.
But I want to see a Voyager character and a Discovery character shoot the shit,
Yeah.
It's like when you see Harry Kim sit at the bar at Quark's, it's just kind of cool to see that.
Yeah.
There's this one girl cadet named Pickford who she's just like the weirdo. She's like the class weirdo. She reminds me of Ralph on The Simpsons. He's just like the dumb weird kid who like eats glue in the corner of the classroom, But like that's her when she like shows up to the Doctor and she's like, I think I ate my comm badge, which that's
I was like, whoa, okay. That's like really difficult to do, I think.
I don't know if you just like get nervous and so like sucking your thumb, you suck your comm badge and then you swallow it on accident. I don't know how the hell else someone does that, but what do I know?
Yeah, she has an attitude later. I think in the next episode she has like an attitude, and I was like, I don't think she's passed her comm badge yet. She must be like literally has a comm badge up her butt.
Yeah, gross.
Yeah.
Well, but as the Doctor says at one point, the only way out is through. So
gross. Anyways,
moving on. They do mention Aurelian lung maggots in Caleb when the Doctor's like giving everyone their physicals and stuff. So that's a Voyager reference. We're not going to have a Gorn egg section at the end of the show where I talk about all the Easter eggs, in jokes, and continuity connections. But I might point some of them out as we go along. We get an introduction scene of the bridge crew when Ake and Laura Thok are on the bridge, and they briefly mention all of these lovely, polite Canadian day actors that will be largely set dressing on this show, I think. But I felt like they were learning from Discovery when people were like, "Who are these bridge people?" Like, I know you weren't in the fandom back then, Taylor, but the first season of Discovery, people were like, "Why don't we know the names of all the people on the bridge?" And why aren't they like the main characters? Like. So okay, they were trying to address that here, and they do like that name call scene. But one of the interesting ones, the blue shirt lady, Lieutenant Rourke. She's the academic liaison, who's there to make sure to find the teachable moments, and that comes up to be a plot point later in the episode. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Also, that Irish wrestler lady is one of these people that a lot of people made a big. I don't keep up with wrestling, but like to see Irish representation in Trek. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on the bridge crew before we get like that.
Yeah.
We get that big Ad Astra per Aspera speech from Holly Hunter. Taylor, did you know that they were gonna reference that when you bought me my Christmas gift?
No.
Taylor got
I
me
was
this
just
this ring that says per aspera ad astra. It has the words a little different from how they word it in Star Trek, but I think it might be the more accurate Latin. But yeah, the through the hardships to the stars through hardship, right?
I just knew that you really liked Una and Rebecca Romaine, and I was like, well, I liked that episode a lot. So that was I didn't know they were going to go that way in Starfleet, but it makes sense because you're talking about recruitment back then and you're talking about recruitment now. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that makes sense to use it. And
Oh,
it's kind of have
they-
like that throwback.
The show could bring back the Una Chin Riley recruitment posters, like that
Yeah.
Boimler had.
Yeah. It might actually be in one of their little museum sets. Like,
Yeah.
like when you're walking along like the atrium area, they have like all those insets with like flyers and posters, and it might be there already and we just haven't noticed it yet.
Yeah, that's another thing is that when you are watching for Easter eggs, the school seems like a great place to insert a lot of them. But when we get that speech, it does cut to the character Sam when Holly Hunter says, some of you are the first of your species to join Starfleet. Some of you are the last of your
Photonic.
species. But yeah, so we'll learn more about her origins in a second. But what we don't have from this captain is we don't have a go to warp catchphrase, which I'm fine with. Like I grew up in the Berman era when we didn't have to give every captain a warp drive catchphrase. But she just says, let's go to San Francisco. So maybe that'll be her
Yeah.
thing. Maybe she'll just be like, let's go to Vinar. Let's go to Kronos. Let's go to Bajor.
I don't honestly know if they'll be traveling too much. Like, because the ship is kind of like the school at San
Yeah.
Francisco. Like, maybe they'll go a couple times, but I don't really think it would happen very frequently.
I guess that's something that we'll find out as we watch is how what's the percentage of episodes on Earth and what's the percentage where they drive the school around in space. Because so far it's like 1-1, but it might become 1-2, 1-3 very quickly. So
Yeah.
they got to get up into space somewhat regularly though, I think, because it's Star Trek, not Earth Trek, right? I do like
it's
having an
Starfleet
episode
Academy.
set on Earth. Yeah, but I feel like the space travel's got to be part of the show. I already know people are going to complain about this just because people like to complain about stuff. But Holly Hunter very, kind of casually sitting comfortably in the big captain's chair. I thought that was cute. I was like, oh yeah, that's what, people would do. And like at heart, she's an educator, not like this like, tough like military commander. Like the big thing to her is like education, she spent 15 years, running the daycare, like this is, she doesn't have to put on like that. Like she doesn't have to be like, I'm like a big tough military general person. Like that's like an act that she doesn't have to put on.
I think she's also 422 years old, and she's done fitting into people's expectations. You know what I mean? Like, she's so over that. Like, she can just do whatever she wants, honestly. And she doesn't feel any shame.
Like, hell, my back hurts. Like, this is just comfortable for me. Like, I'm 422. Like, respect your elders. Let me sit how I want.
It's also a very, like, ADHD thing, is to sit weird in chairs.
Let's talk about our other characters we meet, though. We get Genesis and Sam. They conveniently introduce themselves to each other, so we get to learn about both of them.
I thought that scene was so cute.
I like Genesis, but she's very sarcastic, Like, I feel like if I met her at first, like the first couple minutes, it would like take me a while to be like, wait, what do you really mean, though? What are you like, are you fucking with me? Like, what's going on here? But by the end of the episode, I was like, oh, she's really smart. She's like the smartest of these kids in a lot of ways, the most mature. I liked her a lot. But Sam is adorable. I love her enthusiasm and awkwardness. And we were talking how like, oh yeah, every Star Trek show they kind of have like this this character who's like the autistic analog character, like like Spock, Data, Seven of Nine. Here we get one with Sam. Just the awkward different person trying to understand these weird the social norms that no one else seems to question.
This feels a lot too like extroverts like picking up the introvert. Well, I wouldn't say Sam is like an introvert.
No, she's very extroverted.
And I love how genuine she is and like peppy and excited and stuff. She's very positive and cheerful. And I really like her energy. But I liked that Genesis was like, oh, that one's going to be my friend. Like, she just kind of like sees her and picks her. You know what I mean? She's like, I like her attitude, you know, and she's struggling and I want to help her. So it was very sweet. I think like there's definitely some possible like, I don't want to say red flags, but there's definitely some like alarm bells a little bit with Genesis because like her dad's an admiral and like she's been on starships her whole life and stuff. So I think there is like a possibility of like, I don't know, sorry, I'm like losing my train of thought. There's like a possibility of her like kind of doing some stuff maybe we don't like in the future, like knowing too much, or maybe she's in Starfleet to be a spy. I don't think so, but like there's something that kind of feel like she is so intelligent and smart and like a little, I don't know what the right word is, but there's a little bit of something more to Genesis that I'm looking forward to getting to learn about her.
I think if any of these kids are going to be like, oh, I'm actually secretly a changeling sent to infiltrate Starfleet or something like that, I think it's going to be her. If anyone's like a double agent or like, I don't know, if like Prodigy is like, who's going to be the next Essentia, you know, or why I'm paranoid like that. But I kind of want to like her. Which to me, like, you know, we meet like the other possible love interest for Caleb in the next episode with our Betazoid and Tamara. We'll get to it in a minute. And I kind of feel like, oh, they want her to be like, she's like the she's like the real pretty like girl next door kind of type of character, and then they want Genesis to be like, but she's like she's the girl who's, you know, like more weird and quirky and has like the funny jokes and like the Spider-Man Homecoming movie from a few years ago, the first one with Tom Holland. It's like Genesis is the MJ, not the Liz Allen. Mm-hmm. Or at least that's the vibes I'm getting.
Okay.
But we made our bully. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, and then we get more characters introduced to us, like, right after that, which was really... I loved this scene. It's probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie, because we start seeing them all start interacting with each other.
Or in the episode.
I'm sorry, in the episode, we see them interact together. Sorry, it's long. I think it should count as a movie.
I mean, together, this is like a 2-hour, 20-minute watch, so it's basically a movie.
Anyways, I liked the Kionian bully, which I struggle with his name. I think it's Raimi.
His first name's Darum, if that's easier.
Mm-hmm.
But Darum Raimi. That was hard for me to learn, too.
But I loved this scene so much because it was so closed, right? Like, so it's like Genesis and Sam walking together. Sam accidentally bumps into Jaden. Jaden drops something. I think Sam picks it up, but then Raimi takes it from her, hands it to someone else, and then, like, in the background, we see Caleb watching all of this. So it's like this convergence of all of the characters. And I loved how they all interacted in this. It was really fun.
Yeah, and you know, we learned some character stuff. We learned that Jaden likes bird watching. His mom taught him to see the beauty in things. And him and Caleb kind of bond. And he tells him, you know, like a friend doesn't let a friend a warrior doesn't let a friend face danger alone, or you know what. But it's like, oh, has Caleb ever had a friend before? You know, he's never had a toothbrush. We learn in the next episode he's never had a socks or a bed. So I doubt he's had a friend. His last friend was a teddy bear named Scrap that he left behind to run away from Holly Hunter.
Yeah. And the other thing I really loved about the scene was Caleb, like, sticking up for Jaden so much. Like, he barely knows him. Like, this guy put his bag on his back, and they went through the regulator arch together. Which, oh, side note, the regulation arch kind of made me upset. I really liked Caleb's hair before he went through the arch and they made them do regulation hair and clothes. I also think that's a weird thing to include in Starfleet because there's so many different cultures and species and whatever that they would have any kind of regulation for like hair besides like their uniform.
Just like in some Earth religions, you're not supposed to cut your hair in certain religions, or it's like.
Yeah, and it was funny because Laura was like, "You both need to go through the regulation arch," and like Jaden also had like a haircut change or a hairstyle change, and then I was like, "What was wrong with his hair before?" Like it looked great, so I was a little bummed about that. Anyways, back to the. Caleb sticking up for Jaden in this scene was really good.
And we learned that we learned Daryl is a rich kid bully. So he's kind of like that classic like the bad guy in like an 80s teenager movie. You have like the rich kid who's like the jerk, or the bully or whatever. And I'm hoping that he grows out of that pretty quick. I think they're going to give him an arc to grow out of that. I'll be disappointed if he because he has like a lot of potential to be a better person as we see in these 2 episodes.
Yeah, and I think we see glimpses of him, like I think they're already planting the seeds of growth, like you said. So, and I loved this scene because the EMH interrupted them. He's like, whatever you're doing, stop it. Like y'all are spiking. Like, what is this spike of like adrenaline or whatever?
he's monitoring the hormone levels, which is funny.
Yeah. I thought that was really hilarious. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, so much of the EMH works so well for me. Like, I love him showing up to break up the fight. Like, of course it would be him. And, like, his, like, de-escalation tactic was so good. Like, it was just like, here is exactly the medical issue that I'm seeing. Disperse. It was funny.
And Genesis has, like, that... I guess it's like a meet cute scene with Caleb where she catches him trying to hack the system and send out a communication. And this is actually what will end up bringing the pirates to them, bringing Noose Braca to the ship. But I think is meant to obviously in our minds think like, oh, there's some possible romantic sparks behind these two, especially like how it was shot in front of like there's silhouettes in front of like that blue wall. It kind of parallels, what we see with Caleb and a different character in the next episode. But I don't know. I know last night on the Tex-Trek First Reaction stream, people should check those out Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central. Rachel does a really fun job hosting over there. But they were starting to theory craft or take bets on how are the relationships going to work out, or like who's going to be the first hookup on this show, or like who's going to be like the first relationship. So I think. This is what I'm thinking is that eventually, like down the road, they want Caleb and Genesis to be together, but like they wanna fuck around and play around with them first before they get to that. But this is what I'm thinking is like the writers are probably thinking. But that is one of the things about this show is that I guess a concern of mine would be I don't want this to be just like another like teen. I guess not teen because they're like in college, but like I don't want this to be a
romantic drama, like.
But like in that style of TV show from like Buffy and Angels.
Like, I was gonna say Vampire Diaries. Like I don't want
that too. But like Smallville or I guess Supernatural probably did this stuff a lot. But where you just have like these pretty people falling in and out of love and making that be just as crucial to what's going on in the show as whatever like the big stuff with Starfleet or whatever. Yeah. So like I want that stuff to be kind of secondary, and I just want that stuff to be kind of like just let them just be like normal people, and like maybe like they organically pair off into relationships and just I don't want things to be forced for drama, which is a possibility in a show like this. Like
Strange New Worlds with Spock?
Yeah. Like why? Like we don't need to have Spock in a new relationship every week.
God, in every episode it seems. Anyway.
But I actually feel like the show could potentially handle that stuff way better than Strange New Worlds.
Oh, I agree. But yeah, I'm hoping they don't pair off very quickly. Like I want, like, personally, I want to like learn who the characters are and know who they are individually before they start pairing them up. And so but they already are, like, obviously hinting what they want to do and stuff, but I don't know. I'm like really hoping for some diversity in this too. And so I don't want to be like, oh, I'm just going to assume that the lead guy and the lead lady is going to, I don't know. Like, I would love it if Genesis was like LGBTQA. That would be cool. And even like the Kionian, I feel like has a little hints throughout, because like I feel like him and Caleb are flirting more than they're
I feel
fighting.
like they're both flirting with Genesis a lot, but
they're flirting with each other a lot, so we'll see.
I would say, yeah, this show seems pretty straight so far. So
yeah, I hope for better. I hope they surprise us. So.
I think that we'll have some queer characters in this show, but yeah, that is a good point. That like 2 episodes, there really isn't much signs of that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about like the big climax of the episode. Speaking of those teachable moments, the ship encounters some weird subspace instability that they think, oh, this will be cool stuff for the kids to study, but it was a trap. They get attacked by weaponized programmable matter, and the pirates, the pirate group that Paul Giamatti is part of, the Venari Raw. Or Venari Raw. They actually mention a Venari sector in season 4 Discovery. They mention like the DMA has passed through the Venari sector, something like so. I guess like it was these people's territory. But yeah, I like that. They put like the kids in danger. It felt like real life and death stakes. It's not just going to be everyone's safe sitting in a classroom on this show. There is danger, and the way that the kids had to work together. And work with the adults. You also got to have Paul Giamatti appear in the bridge to chew the scene a little bit with Holly Hunter, and like I think he's too hammy of a villain. I think he's just playing it up too much.
I like it. I think he sells it well, so it doesn't bother me.
I do admit that I do often find it entertaining to watch. Just me personally, I want to have like a more philosophical conflict with this guy. It's just like he wants to steal ship parts. It's like I don't know. That's not as interesting of an antagonist to me.
Well, I think that's a lie. I think he is there for Caleb, but he's lying because he doesn't want them to know that. But I think he is actually trying to also find Caleb's mom and is hunting her down. That's why he knows that she was at Goja 5. But he doesn't want anyone to know all those beans. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to spill those beans yet because he is trying to get Caleb back. But because he was also, spoilers, but later in this episode, like he escapes on an escape pod or whatever, and I feel like his original plan was like, oh, I could take Caleb with me on the escape pod kind of thing, like, oh, he's right there and here's an escape route. But the other thing I wanted to mention, actually 2 things, in the bridge scene with the villain guy and our captain, is I loved the music. I thought it was very fun, and like that.
Jeff Russo does a really good job scoring the show.
Yeah, I loved so many of the scenes. I think were elevated with the music. There's a little bit more pep in it, and there's like drums. Some of it feels rocky, and
you get
some
like
of it's
that
like
rock
lo-fi.
music when him and Caleb fight.
Yeah, and
I don't
there's
like the
some
theme though. We get like that theme song in the second episode. I don't like the main theme in the opening credits, but the music that's within the actual episode is good. Is really good.
Yeah, I think it'll grow on me. But yeah, I agree. Like the in episode music is very good. Like I am definitely like my ears perk up a lot of the music. And then the other part of the bridge scene with the villain, I loved when he was about to sit in the captain's chair and she flopped into it before he could sit down. Like that was such a power move, and it also was in line with like her oddly sitting behavior previously. So I think it was like that made me smile. Like I was like, I love her so much. Like that was the moment that changed for me, because I was like, she has so much control in that situation, and she also is still kind of quirky. So that was when I flipped, that exact moment when she kind of like fell back into the chair. That was when I was like, okay, I like her. So to get out of this pickle, they have
Darum, right? Darum's his first name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Darum the Keonian goes on a spacewalk. He can survive in space for 8 minutes. That is cool. That, we got a lot of like new species, like Genesis's father, the Starfleet Admiral that we hear about but don't see. He's a new species, the Darshaw. We have Keonians, which apparently they keep calling them fish guys. I don't know if he looks especially fishy to me, but
well, I wonder if it's because like they are maybe he can live underwater. Maybe he's not just, I don't know. But yeah, there's also a lot of like hybrid species in this too.
Yeah, like with Laura Thok, the half Jim'Hadar, half Klingon, which
And then
I
the
really want to
villain-
hear. I want to hear more about like, oh, there's Jim'Hadar culture in the future, and they reproduce. Like, I think that's really cool because like Jim'Hadar of the Deep Space Nine couldn't reproduce.
Also, the the villain's name is I'm never gonna remember.
Noose Bracca.
Noose Bracca is a Klingorite, so you got a Klingon Tellarite
Yeah.
hybrid, which is really cool.
He looks more human than anything else. I wonder if he's like half human, a quarter Klingon, and a quarter Tellarite. But like his acting and kind of like the face he makes, and I don't know, like those big eyes is like, man, he kind of looks more Tellarite than any. Like I think of him as more Tellarite than Klingon.
Yeah,
But, yeah, I like that combination, even if I think the performance is a little over the top. But the Laura Thok stuff I really love, with like Jaden having to save her, and then they're quoting some Deep Space Nine Jim'Hadar stuff with like I am already dead and I go into battle to reclaim my life, but I liked her coaching him. I just thought like when she punches him across the room, that was too goofy Jar Jar Binks slapstick comedy that I don't like. There's a moment like that in the second episode that I'm gonna complain about also, but yeah, that was too much. I was like, we got to make sure the kids are still paying attention. Give them something funny to laugh at. Waka waka, ain't this funny? It's like, nah, that.
I didn't think that was so bad. I actually really liked that because it set up the next joke whenever Sam is like, "You don't have to thank me," and I liked that a lot. I thought that was really funny, so I wasn't mad about her.
I do chuckle
like,
at that.
I think it made a better second joke than it did the first time. So.
And I liked the when Caleb is talking to Darum on the comm, he's like, asshole 1 to asshole 2. I don't know.
Yeah.
That got a cheap laugh out of me.
Yeah.
Oh, but Genesis having to coach Darum on the spacewalk, and then when she teams up with the Doctor to override the security systems, and like she was like really mature, and like because like her dad had been training her since she was 2 years old, but she like stayed calm and cool headed, and it was trying to like keep him focused. Like. Hey, guys who die heroically are a big turnoff for me, so don't die. But it's like telling them whatever to like keep them conscious and keep them engaged. And I love that moment with the Doctor with her when he tells her like go get them, like just like that that vote of confidence from the Doctor is would be very encouraging. So. And eventually they confuse the Venari Raw pirates by making them think the warp core is gonna breach. So they beam out of engineering, but we get like that fight between Noose Bracca and Caleb where they get to have some Jeff Russo rock music. So he didn't make a good score for the show, but he made like some cool music for these scenes. But yeah, the Klingorite fight, and then he does like the Vulcan hand jive to troll him when he gets in the escape pod. He's like, live long and prosper, bitch, is basically what that means.
He also had he said, what in the deviled egg hell? And that made me laugh whenever the warp was like, quote unquote, breaching.
Is that something that Paul Giamatti just says, like random? Like, did he like ad-lib that? That's an odd thing for a writer to write, but who knows? I've personally have written some strange dialogue myself, so that's a hard thing to write, actually, especially when you have to do it for a lot of different characters. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it is kind of anticlimactic how Paul Giamatti just kind of his spaceship blows up, but he just floats out in the escape pod. And it's like, man, y'all couldn't track down that escape pod and arrest him or whatever, but he got away. So it happens.
They may have thought he was on the ship still. Maybe Caleb didn't tell her in time that he was in an escape pod. Because they did blow up the ship thinking that they had all returned to it, you know? But I did like that ship, by the way. Like, I like how it kind of like converged together. Like, it was all these like small separate parts hidden in like the the asteroid field or whatever, and then they kind of like came together.
3 different pieces that formed one. But yeah,
I
assume we'll see more Venari role pirate ships.
Yeah. I love all of the futuristic ships that aren't connected, like where they have like that wiggleness to them. I think that's really cool. Like how the nacelles like float around the hull or whatever. I think that's neat. I guess they're not nacelles anymore, but you know what I mean.
Well, yeah, they have like detached nacelles, but we get the Athena back at Earth though, and I guess it lands. I'm still trying to figure out if we're like north or south of the Golden Gate Bridge, but okay, I guess it is south of the Golden Gate Bridge, facing towards San Francisco. I might correct myself in the future if I need to, but that's where I'm thinking that this thing lands, and we get a scene at the end of the episode in Ake's office, which is really cool. It's this really big, nice room, cozy, nice fireplace, some Starfleet tiling in the furniture to remind you what show you're watching. You're going to see plenty of deltas. You're never going to watch the show and forget what show you're watching. You're going to know it's Star Trek. But this is when we get the reveal about her son. And they talk about how, like, yeah, Caleb, you endangered that entire ship, sending that unauthorized communication to your mom. But you also showed a lot of cool potential command attributes, and you did follow orders and work with us when we had to work together. So you're allowed to stay in Starfleet, but you have to do 100 hours of menial labor, and you're confined to campus for 90 days. Even though he tries to leave the campus in the very next episode, but he's not supposed to for 90 days.
He's pushing his boundaries. He's just trying to see what his wiggle room is. Oh, the other thing I wanted to bring up before we switch over to the next episode is the Kionian, when they are like human looking, and then he asks Genesis to turn around. It's very Mystique from X-Men, like the way that he kind of like ripples back into like this alien species, and he's got like that really dark blue skin and like greenish yellow eyes that have like the cool blink that are like a side eyelid. It's so neat.
Speaking of Starfleet poster girl, Rebecca Romaine. But yeah, it was very Mystique.
Yeah, and I want to put out there, I think by the end of the series, not necessarily the end of the season, but I think it might be likely that that's how he presents full term by the time that he's graduated from the academy. It was really interesting, like, whenever he asked Genesis to turn around, like, he was embarrassed of, like, I don't know, like, looking alien. So I'm interesting to see, like, how that, if they develop anything there, if anything changes, or if I'm just looking for something where there may be none.
But yeah, and you could definitely, kind of read that as a queer-coded character, not feeling comfortable coming out of the closet or whatnot. I don't want to speak for that community, but I think that the show, I would like to see some of that kind of representation in here. So I would like it to be even more overt than that. But
yeah. And Joel in the live audience is pointing out it would be expensive to have him non-human for very long.
Yeah,
which is why I was thinking it might be like the series end. Like, it's like, oh, and now here I am.
There's a cost-effective way to do it, and that would be just to do it as a prosthetic instead of CGI. They did on CGI here, and it's like, well, you could also build the prosthetic, and that would be cheaper in the long run. So that is a possibility. And I would like that because I want the show to be more. That's my problem with like Strange New Worlds is like they look so human without Hemmer. It's like I want more alien looking people on Star Trek. So. But I don't have anything else on kids these days. I'm ready to move on to beta test. I'll just say that I think I'm more entertained watching Kids These Days, but I think Beta Test is the better episode, and it's I really appreciate it, how it made me feel a lot better about some of the things I was nervous about in Kids These Days. But let's switch gears. I'll read the Beta Test synopsis and then expand on that with spoilers to recap everyone. The synopsis reads, with the start of the new academic year, Caleb's unease about his future at Starfleet Academy persists. But when a delegation from a former Federation ally arrives and Caleb is tasked with showing their leader's daughter around campus, he must put his uncertainty aside to discover what life at the Academy is really about. And this episode does give you kind of a bit of an idea of Academy life, but we also get to see the Betazoid delegation. Their president comes to Earth. We meet the president's kids, who are going to become students in the show. And I guess what I like about this episode is that, my concerns about it being like just another show about, pretty people falling in love with one another and having these romances and then like these breakups and these love triangles and all this stuff. But like I want it to be a Star Trek show that tells Star Trek stories. And I think getting into the politics here of Beta Z rejoining the Federation and what that means. And it was kind of like a Brexit thing, like they left, but like the people there are like, you shouldn't have done that. And like the younger generation wants to come back. And it was a very Star Trek story, and they came up with a good excuse, like, why would you do that at the school? And, Aki's like, well, why wouldn't you? It would be good for these kids to get to observe this. And, they bring up this president won because he had the youth vote, the Betazoid youth delegation was like a big part of his coalition. And so like I thought that actually made sense, and they explained it. I think that's going to be something that's harder and harder to do going forward. I guess I'm going into my opening statement for this episode and saying my broad thoughts. It's going to be harder and harder to keep coming up with like excuses of why all this big stuff for the entire Federation has to take place at their campus. But it worked here in this episode, so well done. And I like that. Yeah, this is a better example of like what an episode of the show can be like. Here's kind of a classic Star Trek problem of the week. Is like, we're having diplomatic tensions with Beta Z, and then they work through it in this episode. We also get to learn a little bit more about Caleb and who he is and his mission to find his mom. But yeah, I liked this episode a lot. I thought it was really cool. You can do an episode of Star Trek just like walking around Earth. I don't want it to be like that all the time, but it really worked here, and I thought it was kind of nice. Nice change of scenery, just to hang out around Golden Gate Bridge and have some scenes there. What do you think, Taylor?
Mm-hmm. Well, I really liked this scene. This one made me really emotional too. Like at the end, when the Betazoid president basically agrees to rejoin. But I really loved the ASL representation, the deaf community representation in this. That's something that I really love and is close to me because I've had so many deaf friends. And it was really good. Like, I think it was really well done. And the ASL was perfect, and they hired a deaf actor. And there were some things I thought were kind of interesting about the drone interpreter, because I still am confused at how is the drone interpreting like spoken language to the president. Like, I don't know how that's happening.
He says he reads their lips.
Yeah, but still, I feel like at that point you should have a person interpreting, because it does make it easier, even if you can read lips. Like that's something that I was missing a little bit.
That's
I don't know, maybe
point.
if like because it's easier, right? Not easier, but like it's more inclusive to have both. Like, you can read the lips and also have someone signing at the same time. But I also was curious if maybe the interpreter drone was like helping with maybe like vibrations or something, or was like a neural, because they have like the neural inhibitors. I wonder if it's like some kind of like translator in.
I think it was just speaking his sign language, and that He is a Betazoid, so maybe he was like reading people's minds. Although they They do describe all these Betazoids as just being empathic. So if they have any telepathy, they don't seem to be using it. But I don't know. Maybe they've lost their telepathy by the 32nd century. Maybe they're only empaths. They can only read emotions, but not thoughts.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about the Betazoid trait of reading minds. I get the empathy, but I forgot that because like I'm so familiar with Troy that I forgot that full Betazoid can read minds and stuff. But
not all of them. But the impression I've gotten is like most of them can.
But yeah, overall thoughts. I really enjoyed this episode. I was super eye rolly a little bit with a lot of the Tarima and Caleb scenes. We can talk about those more when we get there. But there was a lot of like interesting reasons to be arguing, I guess, that I didn't super agree with. That I thought
I like those. I get where both of them are coming from. It's like I understand why both these people made the choices they made.
Yeah, but we can talk more about that in depth later.
Okay.
But yeah, I really did. I enjoyed this episode a lot. I think I also was just super moved by the whole compromise at the end, and the acting in this was just really good. And I think it's a really good message to like not do things we've always done that way or whatever, and let's like restart and also have fresh starts and new things. Like it doesn't have to always be traditional.
Yeah, there is some great scripting in this episode. There's actually a lot of lines that I really like that I think are going to be very quotable. But one of the things this episode points out is that we're probably we're more slaves to tradition than we like to think. Aki says I guess I'm more of a traditionalist than I even like to admit to myself. But it can be. Sometimes it's very hard to see how obvious it is to be like, oh, we could just like not do it like this at all and just do something different. But sometimes you need to have like that realization that like, oh yeah, there actually are more possibilities, and you don't have to like limit yourself.
Right.
So just going into the episode breakdown, starting off with the beginning, we get like this text on screen that says fall semester. But we get a bit of slice of life at the academy. We see them doing some science assignment with the self-replicating mucus from the doctor. What was the point of this? Was they just have to like take care of this mucus and not get it not get covered in it?
Yeah.
They just have to take care of the mucus and like raise it for a little bit. It made me think of that.
Flour sack.
Taylor and I just watched the animated show Batman Beyond, which is like a teenage Batman in the future in high school. It's actually like really good, even though that sounds terrible and stupid. But like he had to take care of that little egg, that little electronic egg baby thing was like his class assignment, his homework. Mm-hmm. So it made me think like they have to like babysit this mucus for a week.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's like. But we have like that Vulcan teaching comparative Xeno mythology. I thought was kind of cool. We have the War College explained. So we get to find out what the War College is. So for the last 120 years, when they didn't have Starfleet Academy, Starfleet was training personnel in the War College. And it's a different school that shares the same campus grounds with Starfleet Academy. So this is something that Joel and I talked about last week a little bit. We were talking about like the history of Starfleet Academy and Star Trek. But one thing I wanted to see in this show is kind of like school rivalries and like factions, or like I don't know, like college sports where they're having to compete with each other. Or like the idea like Joel has come up with, like maybe like they'll play capture the flag, like War College versus the Academy. But I want to see some type of like that classic, we got to beat them. We don't want to lose. We don't want to let everyone down. And that might be like some fun school drama, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never was into Harry Potter, but I think that's like a thing there, right? They have like the different factions compete.
Yeah, they have different houses within the school.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking.
It was kind of funny because this reminded me a lot of the book Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. And
okay.
at their school, Basgiath, they have a war college, and then they also have like 3 other different parts of the college. I can't remember what they're all called, but I laughed a little bit whenever they said war college, because I was like, oh, this is such a recent like thing I've been seeing in like romantasy books lately, is having like war colleges.
Romantasy. I've never heard that before. Romantasy. Okay.
That's like romance fantasy novels.
Yeah, no, I thought that was fun. Yeah, I like that. I'm going to start saying it
But
now.
yeah, I thought it was an interesting thing to bring up. I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of like keeping up with like like contemporary writing. You know what I mean?
But I kind of feel like that young adult audience is kind of who this show is being made for.
Yeah, totally. That's what I mean. Is like I didn't mean it funny, like haha, funny, like interesting, like that they are looking at like what other people are making, you know, and like going in the direction with like contemporary work that like their peers are doing, you know. So I thought that was kind of cool. But it did make me laugh a little bit, just because it's like war college just sounds so dreadful. Like,
yeah, it does.
Like, oh, I'm gonna go to war college. Like, geez.
The burn was rough.
Yeah.
But I like that they also have that scene with Laura Thawk's combat training, where she's making them recite duty, honor, service, like out in the rain. But she's telling them, like, you're going to learn to defend yourselves, too. It's like the war college doesn't do all the fighting. When push comes to shove, Starfleet can get scrappy with the best of them. So at the Boothby Memorial Park, that was a nice, subtle callback, I think, to Boothby. That was a nice way to handle it. It is kind of weird that like everything in the show is named after some. Well, I take that back, because we get the Turner Wing, and we've never heard of Gideon S. Turner, or I don't know. If someone knows who the hell that is, please inform me. I have no idea. But you have the Hoshi Sato
Auditorium.
atrium is the Sato atrium.
Oh, I think.
And then you have the James T. Kirk Pavilion. So, you know, in the first episode, that big wall of names, it's kind of awkward that, like, we know all those names. But I like seeing, like, Joshua Albert on there. It's like, we've watched the first Duty, so... but yeah, they'll, I guess, probably mention a lot more of these rooms or parks named after established Star Trek characters.
Yeah.
And I want to point out the exocomp that is buzzing around the campus in this episode. Her name is, instead of Peanut Hamper, it's Almond Basket, according to the subtitles.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, voiced by the same person who played Peanut Hamper, that comedian lady, right? She has, her name is like, is it, I want to say it's Kether, but it's like Kether is, Kether Donahue. So.
It makes me wonder, like, if we're going to get, like, a pecan bin at some point.
Yeah, maybe.
Or, like, I don't know. What's another...
Pecan bin has a slight Texas accent, though. She has to have, like, a slight Texas accent, because pecan is our tree. So.
And, like, cashew container.
But I just wanted to point out the exocomp. I like the exo. There's also a Brakar. We got a Rock Talk Brakar stomping around campus. And like when Sam talked to the doctor and mentioned, like, you knew Murph and Dal and Captain Gwendala, and so I love the Prodigy and Lower Decks references in this episode, or in these 2 episodes so far. There's that conversation about the room assignments. You know, there's all that talk about room assignments, and Genesis and Caleb talking about like, oh, we all have roommates, and Caleb is like, that's going to make it awkward if anyone wants to hook up. And Genesis says, well, you shouldn't hook up with anyone for 6 months, because the first 6 months you can learn who all the crazies are. Like, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
Is that real advice that people give college students? Because that's I'm
sure. That's
probably good advice. I was thinking, it's like, oh yeah, I would tell a 19-year-old that, don't be too eager to jump in bed with just anyone. You gotta figure out who the crazy people are.
Yeah, I thought it was funny when Raimi and Caleb figured out they were roommates, and Caleb just starts screaming, "Guards, guards!" And I was like, what does he think this is? Like, I don't think there's guards at the Starfleet Academy. Like Like he was trying to like get someone's attention to like change their room. You know what I mean? But it was like
Oh,
a
yeah,
weird thing to say guards, I think.
yeah, that is a weird thing to say in Star Trek to like security personnel. Like you should, like I guess like they are like security guards, but yeah, it is like guards. Yeah,
It made me laugh because I was
weird.
like, but I think
you
it
know-
was like supposed to be funny. Like I think Caleb was like trying to be funny. Like
But
he was
he's-
trying to.
That's the only people that's like the only authority people he's ever like he doesn't have conversations with like waitresses. He doesn't have conversations with like, people who work at the grocery store. He has conversations with prison guards. Like those are the people who he goes to when he needs something. So that kind of makes sense.
This is also like such a trope for me when I was like, oh, okay. Like, and they were roommates, that Vine. So, for me, that's
What are you
like
talking about?
There's a Vine that was like, and they were roommates.
And
it's
my
like someone, like,
audience
walking down
don't
the
know what
street.
vines are.
Okay, this was
I barely know what a
ago.
Vine is.
I know Joel knows what I'm talking about. He's made this joke before,
Okay.
and I was like, I get you, Joel.
But I legit don't get it, so explain it to me, and then everyone else who doesn't get it.
It's not funny when you have to explain, Joel.
I'm sorry.
But there was a Vine, and it was like someone gossiping on the phone, and she's like walking past someone on their stoop, and this lady's recording on her stoop, and like her stairs at her house, right? Is what I mean by stoop. And the lady walking by on the phone says, and they were roommates. Like, because she's having like a gossip session on the phone with someone. And so it's like insinuating like something happened between them and they were roommates at the same time. And so it was just kind of funny to me when like Rami and Caleb are going to be roommates. Because that's like the first thing, like it's like a sound catch in my brain that's like, and they were roommates, And like, there's like a trope where it's like one bed or like there's one room, and you push those characters together. And in this case, I'm sure they'll end up just being friends, but like that's a very like romantic trope. Like in like romance novels, it's like, oh, well, they're roommates,
But yeah, they're not happy about being assigned to the same room, and so they go to the Chancellor's office to like ask to be reassigned new roommates. And we also learn about that fire apple. Or no, I guess that comes later when we get like the spicy apple. But what we do get in this scene, Ake mentions that, okay, there's that planet Goja 5 that when you had your fight with the Klingerite last episode, he said, oh, your mom escaped from Goja 5. Well, we have never heard of that planet. This is like Camino and Attack of the Clones. It's been deleted from the Jedi archive. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of the other Star franchise lately. It's bleeding into my brain. But so that's kind of disappointing for him to hear. So it's like every episode we're gonna get like a little breadcrumb to like get closer to finding his mom. Like I just hope they know where they're going with this, because it's like last episode they knew that she escaped a year ago, but they didn't know where she escaped from, and now we learn that it's Goja 5, but we don't know where that is. And then when we do find out where it is, it raises even more questions. So I'm like, I hope this stuff ends up making sense when they reveal all that stuff. But let's talk about the War College some. We meet Commander Kelrick, and that conversation between him and Ake, where you talk about like, your young person cynicism. I'm like old person, more romantic view of the universe, and that's cute that you're so jaded and cynical, you little whippersnapper. I liked that. What do you think about her being like this barefoot lady, though?
Oh, I hated that so much. But this totally tracks. This tracks with her personality on, like the way she sits in the chair, and like she's 422 years old. Like she's kind of happy-go-lucky in a way that's like mature. So I kind of get like what she was saying. She even had like a really decent reason. She was like, oh, well, the electrons in my feet, blah, 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 But the part that kind of was worse for me was when she sits on the table and drinks out of some random person's mug that was just sitting there. And
yeah, like what the hell?
I was like, you don't even know what's in that. Like, ew.
Like, Jesus.
And like, I love that the war college chancellor guy is like watching her. He's so disgusted. He's like hands up, like no, no, no.
He permanently has PTSD from watching with as uptight as he is. Like that made his asshole clench like even tighter. Like that just like that scarred him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jill in the live audience is saying she's a hippie. And like, yeah, that's very old school San Francisco hippie dippy. Be sure to wear some flowers in your hair. But yeah, I think it's fun to walk around barefoot at home and maybe outside on grass. But yeah, I would not like if I worked at a university, I wouldn't like walk around the cafeteria barefoot. I don't think. But that's just me.
But it's totally a power move too. This is her campus, and she can do what she wants, and she's not afraid to be individual and unique and push boundaries. Right.
I love the line we get from her though when this guy is like, "Why the hell do you want to have these important negotiations at the school in front of all the kids?" And I love her line, "Children are our ambassadors to now," and just like the respect that she like has for younger people, and just like say like, yeah, but like, you know, they're gonna have a better people younger than you are gonna have like a better grasp on whatever the, you know, the current mood, the current zeitgeist, whatever. Like they're your ambassadors to now. That was a cool way to frame that. Mm-hmm. And how she's also talking about like, man, like these kids have been through so much. They've lived through things that, you know, they never should have had to have bear witness to, and just that's something that I feel about like a lot of young people now that I think more older people should think about. But like, you know, like kids, just like speaking from, you know, what I observe here, living my life in the United States. But like I feel like it's a lot harder for, you know, like someone like fresh out of high school or fresh out of college now, like to get a job and make money now than like, I'm not saying like it was ever like super easy for me, but it certainly has like gotten more difficult. And then I know like generations older than me, a lot of them, you know, everyone's different, but like a lot of them have seemed to like, they had like way easier lives in a lot of ways. And people younger than me seem to have like, I mean, like y'all's quality of life is going down. Y'all are living like harder lives than the people older than y'all lived. Like there should be at least like the very least like an acknowledgement of that.
Yeah.
And so I liked this show articulating that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what were you saying?
I'm not going to say it. I changed my mind. Sorry.
Well, let's talk about Jet Reno. We get the first Reno scene of the show.
Yeah.
So I liked this episode a lot. I like Jet Reno. I'm very happy to have Tig Notaro back in this show, but I didn't like her scene. I didn't laugh at this. I thought it was like really, when she singles out Caleb, like I kind of like that, like putting him on the spot, like oh, you're not paying attention to physics. What are you doing that's so important? Like get up and tell the class about it. Like, but then she just says like the weirdest stuff, like tell me who you are. Have you ever seen a ghost? What about making a mixtape?
Yeah.
Like, those are just like a bunch of weird questions. Tell me your worst birthday present. Well, that's great. You can never have too many misdemeanors in physics.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like it was just Tig Notaro ad-libbing, and it's like, y'all probably should have just like scripted something for her.
Oh, I really liked it so much because like for him, he doesn't really have an identity, and that's what she's pointing out, is that all, like, that's kind of where people find themselves, is like, oh, you're in college and you get to explore and do all these different things, and you probably can't answer like who you are or what you want to do, and like, you know, I think a lot of people do know that, but a lot of people in college are also exploring those things and pushing those boundaries, and I think that's what she's trying to get through to him in this scene, is like, you think you know who you are, but you are hindering yourself from growing more. And like, you don't even have experiences like this. Like, you haven't even made a mixtape. Like, these are just examples, obviously. Like,
mixtape's a weird one. That's just a weird one for Star Trek. Like, none of these kids have made a mixtapes.
I know, but she's from the 23rd century or whatever, remember? So she's got a little bit older vernacular. They probably don't even know what a tape is.
I feel like even in the 23rd century, they're not going to... Like, Taylor, you were born in 1995. Have you ever made a mixtape?
Yeah, well, I made mixed CDs, but not a tape.
See?
Anyways, I liked this energy. I liked her like calling him out on being self-absorbed, and challenging him on thinking about who he is outside of finding his mom. Obviously, she doesn't know all of that, but that's really what this scene is.
But yeah, he's not really. You're right though. The scene does like a good job in pointing that out. Like, yeah, you don't really have any identity. You're just.
Also, love that because this is something I think happened with like Wes, like Crusher, where he's like a know-it-all and it gets annoying sometimes and he can always fix things and he doesn't want to listen because he thinks he already knows well. And I think it's good because Caleb kind of has a lot of that, I don't want to say prodigy is the right word, but he's very intelligent. He's got a lot of experience. And so when he tells her, like, I already know everything about temporal mechanics, like, you don't need to teach me anything. Like, that's very stuck up and, like, not even stuck up, but it's closed-minded, right? Like, he's not listening. Like, he's not open to learning. And so I think that it was important to, like, single him out and, like, I have this conversation with him. But I really liked this scene, but I'm also partial because I really like Jet Reno.
Yeah, well, I suspect I'll like a lot of her scenes to come more. This was just like the it just didn't make me laugh, and I wanted to laugh at it. So
I don't think it was
maybe
meant
that's
to be
on
funny.
me.
I don't think it was meant to be funny though.
Okay, maybe
I
I
thought it
just
was meant
see
to be
her and I'm like,
serious.
ha, funny lady. Make me laugh, funny lady. Why aren't you making me laugh? I don't know.
That's so funny. I don't think about her as funny lady. I think about her as like keeping it real lady.
Well, she's a comedian.
Oh, see, I don't have that context outside of who she is as
But
as a
her
Starfleet
her
character.
comedy is very dry. She's like a very dry, sarcastic comedian. I'll show you one of her stand-up bits from like 20 years ago. I really like it.
Cool.
But moving on, so things kind of spiral from the being called out by Professor Jet Reno. Then immediately after that, Caleb gets Sam's mucus spilt all over him. Then he gets sprayed down by a hologram. He tries to run away. He puts one of the holograms in a logic loop. And when he's caught literally like on the fence, like he like it was kind of funny. It is on. I didn't need them to like point it out when she's like, "You're literally on the fence." It's like I think I was already thinking it. But Terima the Betazoid finds Caleb trying to make a run for it off of the campus grounds, and they have their meet cute scene here. So I like Tamira. I thought she was like pretty likable off the bat, but I don't know. What about you? What did you think of this scene?
Tarima, by the way.
Or Terima. Sorry, it's gonna take me a week or two to get the names right. Terima.
It's okay. I don't know. I think at first I knew she was gonna be like important. You know what I mean? Like she has that look that's like, oh, she's like a princess or something. I think this interaction was good. I think Caleb is so good at talking to people. For as much as he hasn't been like talking to people his whole life, it seems like he's always like fighting with people, like physically. Like he has a lot of good conversations with people, like from even episode 1 and then now episode 2. But it's interesting to see him like open up, and I think because she is, well, I mean, we didn't know this, but she is Betazoid. Like she feels a lot of things, so she's good at like leading him to what he already knows. Like it's like she can feel it and then he knows it but he doesn't want to say it. So I think it's interesting like how that really leads their conversation, is her kind of like nosing in on his feelings, you know. And yeah, I think it was okay. You know, I don't think I was like immediately excited about this character though. So
But I like having the Betazoid, you know, kind of point out to him like, oh, there is a lot of conflict in you. Like I can feel it. Like don't lie to yourself. Like it's, you know, other people are aware that it's there, so don't deny it. And then like they stop short of like telling each other their names, so it's kind of that thing is like oh you bump into this cute person and then you share a moment, but then like you don't get each other's names, and then but y'all end up crossing paths again later, and you're like, oh my god, that was you. So it was a bit of that, tropey coincidence, I guess. But I did like when the guards came to grab him and bring him back to, because he's on that 90-day suspension. He can't leave the campus.
They cracked me up when he was like, Borg!
Yeah, but then I like how they just like tackle him there. Like they went pretty like silly with it. But the show, it kind of makes me think of if Prodigy and Discovery were like merged together. But it kind of has like a pinch of Lower Decks with like some of the. I think that is Tawny in the writers' room. You're being like I'll just have like the guards tackle him. It'll work. It'll play funnier.
Speaking of like that touch of Lower Decks in this is the first show that I've been like, wow, they do a good job with the small curse words that they're allowed to use. Like whenever Braca says like, quit dicking around, like it actually comes out right instead of like sounding weird. Like I feel like that's a really hard one to execute, like in the dialogue. And then like they say asshole 1 to asshole 2, and then and they say like, you're Kionian, bitch, like as like a pep talk, and like that was very realistic. And
it feels like how like 19-year-olds talk to each other.
Yeah, like it actually feels like natural. And I always worry about having like cuss words in shows and stuff, because sometimes it doesn't always like translate as like necessary or like a benefit to the show. And I think in this one they're actually doing a really good job integrating them.
Well, we get the Betazoid president. You thought, you as someone who like knows ASL, pointed out how cool it was that they did all this sign language stuff. I saw earlier in the live chat, we had a comment from Anton Smith, who was also mentioning loud as a whisper. And that's one of your favorite Star Trek episodes, is Loud as a Whisper.
Yeah, I really love that episode too. And it also has really good ASL because the actor is also deaf in that. So I love that they actually hire someone like is deaf. You know what I mean? Like, and not just like have people pretend. You know what I mean? I think that's really important, is to hire the diversity. But yeah, I really loved these scenes. It was kind of funny. I mean, I knew that Terima was going to be like important, but it was kind of funny to be like, oh, there she is. Like, she's a Betazoid right there. But yeah, I thought that this was an interesting conversation. The Beta Z rejoining the Federation. And I really enjoyed like this, not really a debate, but like this very public conversation between the Beta Z president and Starfleet on like rejoining the Federation. And he's kind of like pointing out their not insecurities, like their weaknesses, and like what they've done wrong. And I think it's really good for all of these kids to hear all of this, like to hear people who are in positions of power like admit when they're wrong, and kind of like, how do we compromise? How can I fix what I've done wrong, you know?
So the idea that Beta Z left the Federation and then like they built like this wall. So there's, I mean, like for the last honestly a decade at this point, there's been like all these stories about like building walls, you know. But I kind of took it as like, okay, it kind of works like a Brexit analog. But I thought it was a neat idea that like, they also had 20 or 30 other worlds also decided they wanted to be behind the wall too. So the Beta Z wall expanded to like there's a bunch of different species that are living cut off from the rest of the galaxy. And the idea that like, you know, the young people there are like, this is kind of lame. We want to not have this wall. We want to be able to go explore the galaxy, you know. We want to go to Earth and see the humpback whales.
Yeah.
So, the president says, okay, like let my kids tour these schools and you know, they'll report to me on what's going on here. You know, you're telling me that the Federation is turning over a new leaf and it's going to be all hunky-dory like in the old days, but I'll believe it when I see it. And Tarima asks that Caleb be her tour guide because I guess they already had, their flirty moment, and she wanted, and like, they eventually admit that like they have romantic feelings for each other. They say like, oh yeah, well I liked you, and but
also, oh sorry, I think it's also important to mention that she wants a realistic view of Starfleet Academy, which is another reason that she had said that she wanted to pick Caleb, was because he was the only one that wasn't spewing Starfleet's he ain't
gonna sugarcoat it. Yeah,
right.
Like he'll be like, yeah, like these things actually suck, or he'll give you the cold hard truth. And Caleb sees it, as two things. One, opportunity to shave some time off of his 100 hours of menial labor. But two, maybe the Betazoids, they have their own separate information database. Maybe they know where this planet Goja 5 is. So,
well, I actually didn't read it that way. Maybe that is how that was. But I read it more like his option 2 was he asked for an hour in stellar cartography alone.
Yeah, because that's when he used her. He used her access to the Betazoid database.
I see what you're saying. Like, okay, that's actually funny because one of my notes is I didn't understand why he had to go to stellar cartography with her. I was like, why didn't he just wait until afterwards? But
because she has like the login credentials to log into like Betazoid maps and load that with stellar cartography.
I think that's an extreme chance he took to be like, oh, she'll just have the maps on her and she'll definitely want to show me those maps. Like, that's a risk, I think. I think the way that I took it up originally was that he just wanted access to stellar cartography alone for an hour so that he could do some deep diving without being bothered.
That's how he kind of spins it to the Chancellor. But I think he was already orchestrating his plan to use her Betazoid data. But yeah, this is also the scene where we have the spicy apple that the robot cleaning the window outside like laughs at him at, and I was like, oh, that is too goofy, silly droids from Star Wars slapstick humor. I didn't like that either. It's like I get like people watch Star Wars and they're like, oh, these cute robots, we could do that in Star Trek, but I'm like just don't.
Yeah. Well, this is like kind of news to me, to be honest. I didn't think that he had this like second plan or third plan that like he's going to take her to stellar cartography with him and hopefully see the Betazoid maps, because that went over my head completely.
But that's what he does that. That's what he does.
I know he does that, but I thought like, oh, he's just in a rush to get to stellar cartography because he has an hour. I didn't think it was like, oh, he wants to take her to stellar cartography to access the Betazoid. Like, that didn't cross my mind. Like, that didn't translate to me. And the other thing I wanted to bring up about that scene in the office is he grabs, I keep wanting to say Palea, but that's not right, Ake's spicy apple. Mm-hmm. Like, he takes it and eats it. And I love that she just lets him, because she's like, you're going to learn, bro, And it parallels great with at the end whenever she tosses him an apple. And she's like, see what you can get when it's something you're given and not something you're taking.
That's a good point, yeah.
So I think that was a really good parallel from that scene to the end. But anyway, so
I liked when he was done talking to her and he just said dismissed and walked out of the room, and she's like, you can't dismiss yourself. That's not how this works. I thought that was funny. But yeah, we get to the Gideon S. Turner wing. This is where the tour begins. So named after Gideon S. Turner, whoever you are. I assume someone who worked on this show, or someone who worked on this show knew, but I like the jokes we get about Turner, about him just kind of being like, I actually don't know anything about any of this. I'm the worst person to be a tour guide, so I'm just going to make stuff up about who Turner. But it felt very organic. This is like how like real people flirt with each other, and when he comes back later, when they keep talking about Turner. I do want to point out, though, in the Gideon S. Turner wing, we see the War College banner for the Magatos and the Starfleet Academy banner for the Laplings, which was another animal. It's kind of a puppet you see in the Next Generation. which is it's kind of like a cute little duck-billed creature, and like the Magatos are like the big scary ape with the cool horn coming out the top of their head. I don't know. So maybe we'll eventually see like some Parisi's square match or something of like the Magatos versus the Laplings. But,
Oh, we did get a Parisi's Square like hint in episode 1.
yeah.
The other thing that I thought was interesting in this scene, and I was kind of like, oh, whenever Terima makes the joke that maybe this guy, because he was so terrible, his rich parents bought the wing to make him feel better. I thought that was a really funny and relevant like joke to make about this wing.
Or about how he made everyone learn Welsh, even though he couldn't understand Welsh and couldn't understand anyone. But yeah, it was kind of cool to see, campus life. You see like kids playing hacky sack and I don't know.
Frisbee.
I guess some of that's silly. Yeah, like throwing around like hologram frisbees. It's like, okay, very college campus.
It was the Starfleet version or Starfleet Academy Star Trek version of Pitch Perfect's college introduction scene. You remember when they're on the quad and they're like all the different groups? That's basically what that scene was.
And we had that in the first episode when the doctor is trying to recruit people into the opera society, when it had like all the different electives and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what you were thinking about, but that was in the other one.
Yeah. There's definitely very college tropes, very real.
So when Caleb dives into the Betazoid database and stellar cartography, he does find Goja 5. Mm-hmm. And like later he's good on his word, even though like he got what he wanted from Terima. Mm-hmm. Is it Terima or Tamira? Terima, okay. He's good on his word. Like he does take her to see the humpback whale. They get in trouble when the president is like, oh my God, Starfleet, where the hell is my kid? And then, like Admiral Vance, like the head of Starfleet, comes like walking in there, like looking
He's
for
pissed.
you. Yeah. So
I think that was like really odd. I think I guess I didn't realize like why they were so mad, because I was like, they know that she's touring the college with him. Like they were at the last speech together. And then after that speech, he's like, oh, kind of like, oh, you showed me Goja 5. Let me show you this thing. Like he's like, it'll probably help both of us. Like it seemed like he was like into taking her to do that.
Well, I think it's on a different day. This is like after they had like another round of like, I don't know, president talks at the podium. And
that's what I'm saying. I think it was like right after that talk they went. So it's like he was already touring her that day.
No, it's different. Like there was like some other stuff that happened like between the tour than when they're in the aquarium.
Oh.
They have like another scene of like the president being like, oh, I don't really want to become part of the Federation. And
I know, that's what I'm talking about. And then they left from that together to the whales.
Oh, okay.
But before that, he was touring the college with her before they went to that speech.
Right.
Because remember, they ran out of stellar cartography to go there because they were late.
I just assumed she left like her tracker or whatever, like her comm badge or whatever behind. And that's what freaked him out.
I just think it's weird because it's
maybe
like,
it is
they
a little
know who
forced.
he's with.
Yeah, they wanted to have like some big drama here though, of like the president is pissed off.
And like if I walked up and it's like, oh, she's with her tour guide and they're looking at whales, I'd be not mad at all.
He was very disrespected. He was like, I wouldn't have expected this level of disrespect. Like,
also she's like an adult.
But he doesn't like Caleb. He tells Ake's like, why would you let criminals into your academy if things are really so good and stuff like that? So
that's a good point. He did have his reservations about that.
I want to ask you though about like the humpback whale. Like, what did you think of her? Like when she said like, I just want to see like this big living creature that's so much bigger than me. It, like, doesn't even notice me. It just like, it makes me feel like small in the universe. I get that feeling. I get what she's talking about, but I don't. What do you think of that?
I always think stuff like this is cringe. Like, it is so hard. I'm sorry, y'all. Sometimes I see stuff like this and it just makes me feel like fake therapist vibes. I don't know if that's like the right thing to say, but like, it's like this, like, but also I understand that feeling too. Like I definitely one of the, like sometimes if I go hiking and I get to the top of the hike and you see the whole canyon or whatever, and you're like, wow, like I'm literally an ant on this earth. Like, it makes your problem seem super small, is basically what she was trying to get across. But it also sometimes comes across as like, I don't even know, like snobby. And even I feel that way sometimes. Like, I don't want to like say that out loud to someone, you know? But I did like this little aquarium scene. I loved the room. I think it's really interesting. I think the whale looked weird as hell. Annoyed that it was pregnant and that she was like, it's pregnant. I was like, okay. Like,
It's very
I
Star
don't
Trek
know.
4, yeah.
Yeah, and also just like, does it matter? I don't know. Like, maybe it would have been interesting. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But I think that was kind of odd thing to say. But again, I think, that's her being super sensitive to things. And I think translating, oh, Terima is also good with animals, not just people. So maybe that comes up again later. But yeah, I think mostly I was just confused why they came in so hot to the aquarium looking for her. I was like, I don't really
Yeah.
feel like it was like
It is a
that
little forced
level.
drama. Now that it
Yeah.
didn't really stand out to me the 3 times I watched this episode, but yeah, you calling it out makes me realize that yeah, that was just they just wanted to have like the tension really high at that
Yeah.
75% of the way into the episode. But after that, we get the opera concert during that I don't know whatever those festivities were with the president. But Bob Picardo gets to do some opera singing with one of the Star Trek Beyond shell heads. So I liked that. They're singing all in German. It's like some Beethoven opera, but that was fun. The president though is still being like a bit of a jerk. He's talking about how it's he eventually like leaves this I don't know what is it like a opera concert, like what are they're just standing around like having drinks listening to the doctor sing.
I think it's just
weird.
like live entertainment, right? It's like,
No.
it's like if
It's
you
not really
hired
a concert.
like a
they're not like
DJ.
they're not like sitting and like listening, but it's just like it's
Yeah,
just like live entertainment.
I would call this cocktail hour.
Okay,
And
it's like a mixer.
we have,
it's like the Betazoid
Yeah.
Starfleet mixer. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he eventually like says like, yeah, it's gonna be like a firm no, and that's like when Admiral Vance is like, yeah, he came all the way to Earth just to tell us no, I guess. And the stakes are high with that because he's gonna be president for 10 years, so it's a long time before they have like someone else they can negotiate
Sway.
with.
Yeah.
And there's that falling out between Tamira and Caleb I really like this scene when they talk about like Caleb didn't fully disclose his intentions, and she's talking about how like, oh, I'm not like other Betazoids, like I feel things even stronger. That's why I have to wear this little dampener thing. But it also to me thinks it's like, oh yeah, she's gonna be like more sensitive to things, and especially like being a Betazoid, like you're used to a lot of transparency. Like Betazoids don't have secrets. Like everyone is very open about what they're doing at all times. And so I can understand her being like, "Oh, were you manipulating me? Were you using me? Like that's like, I'm Betazoid. We don't do that. So that's that's something that I'm going to be extra sensitive to." And he's like no, but I also didn't want to tell you all this stuff about my mom because like I just met you, and
Yeah.
why should I like trauma dump to you? But like I could get where both of them were coming from, and especially in like a romance story, I think that's like a tricky thing, but an important thing to try to do is make it where when there is a conflict like this, you can understand where both people are coming from, and that way neither one of them has to be too big of an asshole. Like I think like a good example of that is I love the James Gunn Superman movie. And the romantic storyline in that between Clark Kent and Lois Lane, they have a big fight in the movie, but it's so easy to understand where both characters are coming from that you can have like that conflict without making either one of them a jerk. And I kind of felt that way about this scene here, but
Yeah. I struggled a little bit with this scene because I actually felt more on Caleb's side. And I guess it does make sense with you pointing out, like, oh yeah, the Beta Z culture is different in terms of like what they tell everyone right up front, right? And like she's expecting, oh, I'm feel very close to you, and I would expect that from you. But I also think that's not fair of an expectation to have for someone who is unfamiliar with Betazoid customs to be having this fight. And I agree with Caleb. Like, I wouldn't want to trauma dump on her and be like, "Oh, my mom is missing, and I've been in and out of jail my whole life because I'm searching for her." Like he doesn't want to sell her a sob story. Like, he wants to be like, "This is who I am." Like earlier, Jet Reno was saying, "I'm not anything except for hunting for my mom, and like I'm thinking about that today, and like these are all these things I like to do, and I am looking for my mom, but I don't want to be." Saying like, because I think he's kind of at this point where he's feeling a little like trapped in this identity, right? And he's like, I don't know, doesn't want to, like, everyone knows his kind of shit right now because his message to his mom got broadcast to his whole school in the last episode. I'm sure that was so embarrassing and sad. Like, also, like, I'm sure he doesn't want people to know, like, that he's looking for his mom and he feels abandoned, and he's very vulnerable to all of them. And I'm sure like he doesn't want to be doing the same thing with this person that he likes, you know. And I think personally it was fine for him to not be like handing over all this information.
Yeah, but like from her perspective, she's like, oh yeah, like you were just hanging out with me because you liked me, and like, oh, like were you just taking me to stellar cartography? Were you just using me to try to find your mom? Like, you know, I can understand her like needing a moment to come to terms and accept that. And the scene after that, when we have Ake comes to Caleb's and Darum's quarters. She comes to their quarters, and you know, she's like, it smells bad in here, and like make up your bed, you know, like but anyways, I don't really understand what we're supposed to take away from his line, like, well, in physics you can always build something. But she's talking about like, you know, like your mom learned a lot of physics in prison, which kind of makes me think like, oh, is his mom gonna like, I don't know, like build a Red Angel suit, or like cause the next burn, or like travel time, or like why is his mom learning physics? Like, what is that going to end up being? But then he's like, well, in physics you can always build something, and then that kind of sparks an idea for Ake to move the seat of government. You know, they're talking about like putting it back in Paris, and she's like, oh, if the Zoids rejoin, we'll put it on Beta Z. Mm-hmm. But what's the connection there?
I guess because they had talked that they were currently building the building in Paris.
Yeah, and so, they're like about to break ground or something.
Right. So maybe she's like, oh, physics, you can build something. And then maybe she's like, oh, build something. And then it's like, well, what if instead of building it where we're currently building it, we build it somewhere else? But yeah, I think that was clunky writing too.
Yeah, it was a bit of a stretch.
I agree. And I think it was more about, I think that scene was more important to be like, oh, you need to know this weird fact about his mom. And because I do agree with you, it's foreshadowing to something that she's doing as we're chasing her down. And then they also just needed something to push them to the next part, which is, oh, we have this idea to move the capital to Beta Z. So it was clunky, but they tried.
But I liked Caleb like running off to Terima and then asking her, you know, for the love of God, do it for Turner, but try one more time to get your dad to rejoin the Federation, and you'll get to come look at Humpback Whales all the time, and we won't keep any secrets from you, or make your upset Betazoid ass, you know, get all like a butthurt and cry when we don't disclose it, when we're not transparent enough. We'll do better with that. We'll check out the wells. Your dad will enjoy it. He'll get over it. He'll have a good time too. You know, eventually, like, they get the agreement to put the capital on Beta Z. I love this idea. I love the idea of Star Trek itself, kind of as like a series of shows told by storytellers, kind of admitting like, oh yeah, it is kind of weird that we just always keep the capital in Paris on Earth. Why should it always be on Earth? We should share the capital. Move that bitch around. We can put it on Beta Z for a little bit. We can put it on the Trill homeworld for a little bit. We can put it on Andoria for a little bit. It'll be great.
Just want to backtrack just a tiny bit to the physics discussion.
Yeah.
In our live audience, actually, Double Guitars says that he was thinking the mother was going to make a time machine to that moment they got separated and stop it. And I think that comment is very interesting because earlier in the second episode, we heard Caleb say that he knows everything he needs to know about temporal mechanics. So if we do connect those two things together, that's interesting. Just wanted to highlight that because that's a good possibility.
Every Star Trek has to tackle time travel at some point, so I know a lot of people are like, I hate the time travel stories, but we're gonna have to cross that bridge on this show at some point, I'm sure.
But yeah, back to, I loved the idea of moving the capital to Beta Z too. I think that was really cool, really smart to like, if you're talking about like a federation of planets, it doesn't always have to be Earth-centric. And I think this is something like the U.S. does so much, It's like, oh, we're always like American-centric, where like people on the internet is like, Americans forget that other people also have internet. I don't know if you've seen those comment feeds and stuff where like Americans are like, that's not how it is. And then people in other countries are like, that's exactly how it should be, because people are so centric to what they know, especially here. But I loved this scene where the Beta Z president is talking with the admiral. With Vance, right? Mm-hmm. What am I trying to say? I'm sorry. But whenever he is presented with this option, he has like the expression on his face where he just like has this like relief and like acceptance, like he feels heard, and there's just like he melts a little bit, and it made me cry. I was like like for the rest of this episode,
it's like when the deaf actor speaks, like when he says yes, and like everyone stands up and applauds. It's it is a powerful moment.
It was so powerful, and like I loved when he like looked over to his kids and they both stood up like in agreement. Like, that was so powerful, and I was, like, crying the whole rest of this scene, because I thought it was so well done. Like, there's so much emotion, and so much hope, Like, people really want this. Like, he's seeing, like, the people around him, like, rallying for this decision, and so, I really loved the way that this episode concludes.
Yeah, the last things we get, a scene between Ake and Caleb talking about like, okay, so now that we've learned that Goja 5 is actually behind the Betazoid wall, it was something like established after the wall went up, and that's why we had no record of it. It's a gang-infested piece of shit planet, but we know that your mom left because we found an encrypted manifest that Anisha Mir was on a ship off of that terrible planet. So she's out there somewhere. And I guess like the wall is coming down now. This sounds like talking about like the Berlin Wall or something. But yeah, like the wall is coming down. So I guess it's free game to go explore those systems and look for his mom. But it just seems weird to me. It's like, okay, the first thing they know about his mom is that she's been on the run for about a year. She's escaped, but that's all they don't know where. Like, that's a weird thing to know if you don't know where she escaped from. Then the next thing you learn is planet Goja 5, but we don't know where that is. It's like, okay, we've learned where it is. It's behind this wall. But now somehow we also know that she left that planet. So maybe the first thing they ever found was the manifest. I don't know. But then they would know Goja 5 back from the very beginning. Like the mom mystery box, whatever they're building up to some reveal. The way that they're revealing the information, I don't know if there's an actual like logic to it. It's just like they just give us a breadcrumb whenever they think of something they want us to know. But
I think
it makes me worried it won't make sense when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I get your feeling, but I think it's like her breadcrumbs, right? Is like, I think she's trying to get back to that moon. I think it was called Ishani.
Okay.
And like she's kind of having to just take where she can get to in that direction. So I think she's like struggling to get there. But the only thing I don't think makes sense is how come she's not communicating on their special secret code channel. I think that's
Right.
weird.
Unless maybe she's, being held by someone else who won't let her communicate.
I think it is likely that there's going to be a reveal of Nusbraka
Yeah.
having some interference with her and like something related.
Or, your theory was that Noose Bracca wanted Caleb, and so the only reason why I could think of why he would want Caleb would be if he wants to use him to get to his mom.
Yeah, and I think it's because she was mad at Nusbraka for getting them in this situation, right? So I think if she was to escape the rehabilitation center that she was sentenced to in the Federation, like maybe it's possible she could think like Caleb is gone, or I don't know. It's possible that she's trying to get to Caleb. She doesn't know where he is, but she's like, I think has like almost like a revenge plot against Nusbraka first, maybe. Or maybe she's trying to reach the moon and she's intercepted by Nusbraka. I think there's a lot of possibilities. I think it will make sense like as we go through, but it's definitely setting it up for a convergence of those three characters, and also with Nahla Ake. So it'll be 4 characters, I guess, like a reconvergence.
I just hope it's something that they've thought out, because some of these serialized Star Trek shows have gotten themselves in trouble not having their conclusions planned well enough. Discovery Season 3, prime example. Mm-hmm. But after that, we get back to Caleb's room to find that Occam, I believe is his name, or Occam, I guess. Mm-hmm. Occam has moved in with Caleb and Darum, so Tamira's brother, the other Betazoid kid, and he seems to be like kind of a awkward doofus. He's he talks about being clumsy. He starts breaking Darum's trophies immediately, but he wants to be like a cool dude. He's trying to like pump iron and get fit. Like I guess he wants to like, oh man, like you two dudes are pretty swole. I want to be swole like y'all. But what I really liked, what I appreciated about this episode is that at the end of it, when Darum helps Caleb make his bed. Mm-hmm. This guy who's like never had a bed, of course he doesn't know how to make his bed. And then like the guy who's like been like his bully and almost kind of like his competitor. Like I'm the real alpha male. I gotta show how I'm like stronger and smarter and prettier and better than everyone else. And he's kind of been kind of like that kind of dickhead energy towards Caleb. And then here he's like. Okay, I'll help you out. I feel sorry for you. I'll genuinely help you out here.
I also feel like it might not just be like I feel sorry for you. It might also be a little bit of like a haha, let me show you something. Like he's kind of like not like a haha. Like I don't think it's super mean. I think he was doing it nicely, but I think it was a little bit of like I know something you don't. Like still kind of he could pull that against Caleb a little bit.
Yeah, like
but I don't think it was out of character. I think we see Raimi in the first episode being very supportive and giving reassurance to Jaden. And I don't know. I think his character has like 2 levels. Like I think he does like have this like beef with Caleb, but I think he also genuinely I think he does have like nice tendencies, but we're seeing them trickle in.
Yeah, you keep wanting to call him his last name Raimi, and I keep calling him his first name Darum. So
Darum is hard for me to remember.
It was hard for me to remember at first too, but like I'm trying to say it a lot to get used to it. But all that to say, something that I've been thinking about a lot since we did a backtracking retrospective on the best Starfleet Cadet episode ever, the best Academy story ever, The First Duty. But, Nick Locarno, how he does, at the end of that episode, he argues for everyone else in Nova Squad to be forgiven and all the blame placed on him. Mm-hmm. And, my claim that, like, he does that good, noble thing, but it's still kind of out of a selfish reason. It's still kind of out of ego. Like, he hyped himself up as like, I'm this great leader who would take the fall for all of you. And so he kind of put himself in a position where he had to do that, to follow through with it. But it made me think, a lot of times in real life, people will do the good, noble deeds, even if it is for, cynical reasons. It's still good that they do those things in the end, I guess. It's like it's still to everyone's benefit that they do the right thing regardless of their motivation. And I think that might be a bit of, Daryl, like he went and did like the scary spacewalk and helped save everyone. And then like here, like he's going to help Caleb learn how to make his bed up. But yeah, part of it is just like, out of ego, because this also shows like how great I am. But maybe, it's kind of a fake it till you make it thing. Maybe if he does good enough, he'll eventually realize like, actually making the universe a better place for other people is kind of its own reward. It actually feels good to do that. So I hope that's the journey that we see him go on. But yeah. And Occam is happy to be there. He's like, let's build a fort, guys. So yeah. I think he'll be kind of like an annoyance character for Caleb going forward. But and we know that Terima, whichever one. Terima. We know that Terima's over at the War College. So
yeah, that was a good surprise. I liked that they swapped them.
Yeah, that's some good drama. So it's more reason to have some Academy versus War College competitions.
Yeah, when they play Frisbee together.
Well, y'all heard us talk about these 2 episodes for over 2 hours, so everyone out there should know exactly how Taylor and I feel about the first 2 episodes of Starfleet Academy. We would love to hear what y'all think. Please comment on YouTube or in the Tex-Trek Discord server, or reply to my post on social media, or talk to us on the Tex-Trek Facebook page, wherever. Let us know some of your thoughts on these episodes, and we might share them next week. And I don't know what we'll do next week as far as like a Gorn Egg segment, if I run through the Easter eggs, in jokes, and continuity connections in episode 3. I'm also going to do like the problem with Paramount segment on Larry Ellison. So a lot of stuff in next week's podcast episode. Just remind everyone, you can also check out Rachel and the gang on Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central, with the first reaction streams for these episodes on the day they come out on Paramount Plus on Thursdays. We're going to be doing that every week. And in addition to Taylor and I doing the deep dive discussion episodes on Fridays at 5 p.m., we're also occasionally dropping some other Star franchise content. We've just put out our show on The Acolyte. And then for people watching us live, go over to the other Star franchise in about 40 minutes at 8 o'clock Central. Taylor and I will be live over there talking about The Phantom Menace and some other pre-Clone Wars tells that we just recently watched, as we continue to watch Star Wars in chronological order.
Yes.
Taylor, what else?
I had one fun fact Gorn Egg for you guys, but it's like a kind of a real life one I thought was interesting.
Yeah, you brought this up earlier. You told me like, okay, I'll save it for the show. So
when I was
lay it on
looking
us.
up, I wanted to know how tall Holly Hunter is, because I thought she looked very short compared to her. She's actually only 5'2". But what I learned when I was looking her up is that she's actually lost her hearing in her left ear. So she can only hear out of her right ear. So I thought it was really cool that we see hard of hearing and deaf representation in this, because Holly Hunter is part of that community. So I just wanted to give that a shout out, because I think that's really interesting.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that. But then I'm also thinking, like, well, she's like 70 years old now, so it's like
She lost it because of mumps when she was a kid.
Oh, so she had to like go through acting deaf in one ear like her whole career. Mm-hmm. I never knew that.
I saw an interview of her saying that it really helped her acting, because she had to learn how to read lips sometimes, and also learn facial expressions and like interpret a lot of that. And she relied heavily on over expressing, which is very common like you. So like when you are signing, you want to be like over expressive as well. So I think that is cool to just have a fun fact about Holly Hunter.
Cool. Well, and that is that's good to know about her, and also just that reminds me to point out, This is the first Star Trek show we've ever had where the captain and first officer are both women, right? It's always been one or the other. It's never been both. So
Cool.
they'll let it be two boys, but this is the first time they let it be two ladies, and I think that's cool.
Yeah. I love the saying that we're not equal until the whole cast could be all women or something like that. Like, not necessarily like a cast, but like if the whole committee or whatever is all women, because we see all male committees or whatever. So the only time you would be equal is if it was actually you were able to have like a whole woman representation. So I think that's kind of an interesting take to end this episode on.
Okay. Well, we will end it on that. But come back next week and come back in 40 minutes for the other Star franchise. And until next time, as always, live long and prosper, y'all.
Subscribe to YouTube to watch the Tex-Trek podcast live or listen to us later on your favorite podcast platform. Follow Stephen Fothery on socials at TXTrek. Thank you and take care.